Welcome back, friends. My name is Michael Yates, and this is the Ridgeview Pod, where we try to cover everything hope, healing, and recovery related. We're glad you're back. Glad you joined us, and I'm glad to have back Emily Hager. How are you?
I'm great. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Happy holidays. I should have brought in like my like either a Santa hat or something festive, a white beard. I'm almost white.
You're getting there.
I'm almost.
I got reindeer
Yes,
ears.
yeah, elf. I just was not planning ahead. So, Emily, I am very glad you're back. When you first joined us, the focus was suicide prevention, TSPN, what's going on with Tennessee Suicide Prevention Network, how to register or request a QPR training, things of that sort. And then somewhere in our conversation, this little nugget came out that you actually have a doctorate in nutrition.
Yes.
Yeah, that
Well,
seems...
I think that you were talking about your habit of oatmeal eating.
Yeah, steel-cut oatmeal.
Yes.
You remember well. Nice. Yeah. So it seems such an important topic. We focus on activity, fitness, around trying to elevate community awareness around the importance of mental health and optimizing mental health, destigmatizing mental illness, things of that sort. But it seems like we very rarely talk about the importance of what role nutrition plays. So here we are, we're in somewhere in the continuum of time related to the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I heard a lot of folks talking about the importance of increasing your immune system through better care, better nutrition, things that you can do just by what you eat to amplify your nutrition.
Absolutely.
So prior to us starting this, we were talking about, these categories and labels of are people a vegetarian, a vegan, a flexitarian, a keto diet, a low carb diet, a high fat, high protein, a carnivore diet? I've never heard so many different ways of measuring or qualifying your diet habits. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, there are a bunch of different categories out there that people try to almost conform to. And when I'm talking to someone about their nutrition, they tend to always start in wanting to go down one of those pathways. And I always encourage people to figure out what works for them. Because a lot of times when we try to fit into a group, and it doesn't fit our preferences or what we enjoy to eat, a lot of times we can't hold true to that diet plan. And once we come off of it, then that's when you start to see what they call the yo-yo effect. People will lose a lot of weight, they come off the diet, then they'll gain it back, and then they'll lose a lot on another diet plan. They'll stop, and then they'll gain usually their original weight plus some when they come back. So those groups are what tends to cause that yo-yo diet effect when someone's trying to conform. If one of those groups is something that you like to eat or a lifestyle that you like and that you can live, then I try to encourage people to pursue that. For me, I really enjoy being vegetarian, but and even vegan. There have been times in my life where I was vegan, but I've got 4 kids, and one of them's a 2-year-old that's potty training right now and a full-time job. So it's not as easy to do all of those things that you need to do to maintain a good, healthy vegan diet. So, being adaptable and being easier on yourself, and being okay with where you're at, but not taking that to the extreme.
Mm-hmm.
You were talking about before we got started about moderation, and it's so true. It's especially coming into this season of the year where there's, we all celebrate with food and usually desserts, going in with moderation in mind, but don't completely restrict yourself from being apart. Like you want to enjoy your social health
Mm-hmm.
too, right? And that's getting together with people and having a good time. So that, like we said, they all kind of play together, these
Mm-hmm.
dimensions of health. So what I do around this time of year is, if I know that I'm going to a dinner, or if there's some sort of Christmas party, I know what's going to be there,
Mm-hmm.
most likely.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll try to be a little bit more aware of what I
Mm-hmm.
eat, either definitely the day of,
Mm-hmm.
but also, the day prior, just to make sure, I'm cautious and I'm
Mm-hmm.
aware of what I'm eating. And when I know that I'm about
Yeah.
to have
Yeah.
some cake or pie.
Yeah. Well, you brought up a great point about the season that we're heading into, and a lot of our members of our psychosocial rehab or peer support centers, they watch this, and they may, it's the season of resolutions.
Mm-hmm.
So people oftentimes think, I'm going to start the new year by resolving to eat less of this and more of this, or to lose this and be more active by doing this. Do you have advice for people that, as they start to think about those things, to set them up for success?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a large part of anything really lifestyle related is the goal setting. So I don't think resolutions are necessarily bad. I think that we have to be mindful of what we can handle and what we can do. Because a lot of times what happens is people set these really astronomical goals. Um, which, if you do it within a time frame that's reasonable, like if you want to lose a certain amount of weight, think about the amount of time that's healthy to do that. But also, we have to set those small goals that are achievable, and achievable within a small time frame, because that allows us to have those like success moments.
Hmm.
And we need that as people. We need those success moments to really stay on track with a goal. So with New Year's resolutions, I mean, I do them for
Hmm.
myself, but I look at it for the entire year. So
Hmm.
I set my goal, for my resolution is, what do I want to have accomplished by the end of this year? And I, will break it down even by quarter or by month, something that I can grab hold of and say, yes, I did that.
Hmm.
Um, and that's how most people have success with goal setting is, have that big picture, but break it down into smaller chunks that are attainable,
Yeah.
and you can really celebrate them.
Yeah. Great advice. Great advice. If folks are thinking about what to eat that might help boost their immune system, are there certain types of food that actually promote a better immune system?
Yeah, absolutely. Your fruits and vegetables are going to be a big part of boosting the immune system. Um, And we try to encourage people to go more, like we had talked about before, more whole foods. So, because in that whole food, you're getting a variety of different things. You're not just getting micronutrients, but you're getting soluble and insoluble fibers. You're getting a lot of different things that help the body overall. And our bodies are really amazing at, being able to regulate. But with the immune system, that's a big category that the American diet doesn't really capitalize on
Uh-huh.
much. So a whole fruit and vegetables throughout the day.
Like what? Give me
Um,
some examples. What is a whole
yeah,
food?
yeah. So an example that I do on a regular basis is an apple. Like if I want a snack, I will go for an apple and some peanut butter before I go for crackers. Because with that, I'm getting the soluble fibers that are in
Mhm.
the apple, the micronutrients, and then I'm also getting some good fats from the peanut butter, and also protein. So, but substituting what would be maybe chips or crackers.
So a whole bag of chips does not constitute whole food.
No.
What about a whole hot dog? No, okay. I just want to be clear,
Yeah.
what we mean by whole food.
Yeah, yeah. So it would be like in its original form.
Uh-huh.
So if you think of something that you could just grab, a fruit that you could just grab off of a tree or a plant, or something that you could take out of the ground like a carrot, those would be examples
Yeah.
of whole foods.
I am so glad you gave the example of an apple because for 3 months now, I've been trying to eat an apple a day. And I have fallen in love with Gala apples.
Yeah.
Gala apples, folks. Try a Gala apple. And yeah, they're wonderful.
Well, that adage has been out there for a long time, right? Eat an apple a day keeps the doctor away.
Mhm.
And it's very true because once we start, that's one of those small goals that you can
Mhm.
do. One apple a day is not hard to do. Um, but I remember growing up, my grandfather, he was a grapefruit guy.
Mhm.
So every morning he would have a half of a grapefruit. He'd cut it in half, and ever since I observed that, and he lived to be very,
Mhm.
very old, right? And I just always made that
Mhm.
association with the way that he eats with his
Mhm.
age. And, he lived that life that was
Mhm.
very fulfilled in
Yeah.
his older years. So,
My Nana did that as well.
yeah,
Half a
yeah.
grapefruit. Now, she did put salt and sugar on it.
Y- y- a little bit here is okay, right? Moderation.
Right, right. Well, it's when you mentioned that, I immediately raced back to my childhood of seeing my Nana do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is all great advice. Last time when we met, we talked about what you do to take care of yourself. If you would allow me, I'd like to change the game a little bit about
Okay.
how we end up,
All right.
because you've given great advice, simple, doable steps of improving nutrition and diet. We talked about even the addition of a banana a day, an
Yeah.
apple a day, a carrot a day, things like that. Simple, doable change. Great advice. I will admit I've stolen this I listened to a podcast of a triathlete, Greg Bennett, and he concludes his podcast guest by asking a few rapid fire questions.
Okay.
So I'm not doing all of these because we're not a long form, but I'm going to ask you these,
Okay.
and maybe you guys can ask yourselves a couple of these afterwards. Uh, what's your favorite family vacation?
Hilton Head.
Ooh, nice place. Yes, yes, the Low Country. Um, the two most used apps on your phone.
Pinterest and Navy Federal Credit Union.
Oh, wow. Now, I've heard a lot of different app usage. I've never heard those two. So, okay. All right. Very good. Since we're talking about food, what dinner could you prepare?
Oh gosh. We'll just do last night we had steak, potatoes, and roasted Brussels sprouts.
Steak, potatoes, but for someone who's vegetarian,
Mm-hmm.
you're just doing the Brussels sprouts. You're dividing the plate up.
Well, yeah. So a lot of times with my family, because my family they do love meat. So there are times where I'll have to kind of be creative for
Yeah.
myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Okay. So at that meal,
Mhm.
three guests that are non-family that you would invite to that meal.
3 guests, non-family. I would invite um, Anna Pearson. And, well, she has a family of 6.
Okay.
Does that count?
We'll make it a long table. All right. Okay. Well, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Two more. Which decade of music is the best?
So, I hear a lot of 90s from my eldest daughter. So, I would say right now, it's the 90s.
You've been converted.
I've been voluntarily or not.
Yeah, I got it. I always have to do like, so what kind of, give me some names of what kind of music is that to orient me? So what is the
Oh my
90s
goodness.
music?
So she would listen to, let's see, 90s would be like your
I mean, is that Nirvana?
yeah, yeah. Well, she's more like she's so interesting. She has her rock, but she also has like her pop side too.
Oh, okay.
So it would be I'm sorry, what? Backstreet,
Oh,
NSYNC,
okay, okay,
Britney Spears, your Christina Aguilera,
okay.
Pink, Alanis Morissette.
All
Yeah,
right, all
yeah,
right,
yeah.
okay. God, see, now I get it. I get it. Okay.
Which is interesting because it's kind of what I grew up with. So she's going back
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah. No, that's
my
good.
time.
Yeah, the stuff my kids try to orient me to, I can't even understand what they're saying. So, all right, last one. Greatest movie of all time.
Greatest movie of all time. I'm gonna go with this is hard because I love movies.
Good
But
question then.
yeah, I'm gonna go with Air Force One. Harrison Ford.
Yes. Yes. And in that movie, does he not play a graduate of the University of Michigan?
I believe so.
Because he's watching a football game of them on the plane, and they are in the college football playoff. Just a little token to my favorite team. So that's a freebie right there.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right. Well, very cool.
Yeah.
That's well, thank you. That was fun to do.
Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed that, and maybe you can ask yourself some of those questions. And I tip my hat to Greg Bennett. I got those from his podcast. Emily, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks
It's
for
great
having
to
me.
have you.
Yeah.
Let's do it again in 22.
Okay.
All right. Very good. Thank you, folks. We hope you enjoyed this, and please don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell, and we'll see you next week. Take care.